All right, everyone, Gary here, and yes, I'm overdressed once again because of my daughter's dance rehearsal, and I'm just lazy. I didn't feel like changing. So anyhow, welcome to the fourth and final section that's a part of this 100% free comparison course by example, where we're going to cover our app that we covered in Vue.js and React, and now we're going to be covering in Angular. All right, so Angular is owned and maintained by Google, and aside from being JavaScript based, it's not a library, it is a framework, so it's a little bit more robust. All right, so if you're just hopping in here, you can download the project files by just downloading them, and inside of the zip, you'll see that we have a ton of different files for each of the lesson videos where there's a begin and end state, and there's also the HTML and the CSS that we're going to be pasting in. That's going to create the layout for this app. All right, so let's get started. All right, so let's get started here. As with the other two, as in Vue and React, you could either choose to install your Angular project as a part of an existing project, or you can start fresh, which is what we're going to do with the help of the Angular command line interface. So first, let's go ahead and install it with npm install -g for global at angular/CLI. All right, so once it's finished, we're going to go ahead and access the CLI. And the way you do that is through simply ng. If you hit enter, it'll give you all of the options that you can do. ng-v, I believe, will give you your current version. So to start a new project, and by the way, as compared to the Vue CLI and the React CLI, Angular's command line interface has a lot of options. It's a lot more robust. So it's not just for installation. It lets you generate components, directives, pipes, and services, and all this other stuff. So we're going to start a new project by ng new, and then the name of our project. And we're going to name ours compare-angular. And we're also going to add a couple options. So you could just hit enter and it'll start your project up by default. But we're going to add two things here, two different flags. First is going to be routing. And this will set up just a routes file for us, as well as importing it into an ng module. So it just kind of saves a little bit of time for us by setting that file up. And then also we're going to specify a style and set it to, by default, I believe Angular set up, if you just didn't include this at all, to work with CSS. You could also specify SCSS or Sass. Now, because the Balma CSS framework that we're using uses Sass, I'm just going to specify Sass here. So after that, just hit enter, and I will go ahead and pause it because it does run npm install for us, so it takes a little bit longer than, say, compared to I believe Vue, you have to run npm install by default. All right, so let's go ahead and cd into it after it's been created. So compare-angular. And the way we serve it here is through ng serve. So it's going to set up a local server at localhost 4200 right here. So let's go ahead and open that up once it's done. And here we go. It looks like they just recently updated this little default landing page that the CLI generates for the project. It used to just say AppWorks over here. So they upgraded just a tad bit, but nonetheless, we're going to be removing all this stuff here in the next section. So we're going to just get started as we did with the previous two, being React and Vue, by kind of outlining how things work at a very basic fundamental level, and as well as setting up our components. All right,